game of the week. And this week, our gateway game of the week is, sticking with our racing theme, is Formula D. Formula D is designed by Laurent Laveur and Eric Randall and published by Asmodee Games.
Wait, what year did it come out?
It came out in 2008.
I thought it came out in the 90s. No, because that's a reprint.
Yeah, no, so Formula D, which is the French version.
D-E-E, right?
D-E Umbla, or whatever it is. Yeah. The French Umbla or whatever, I don't know, whatever they call it. Anyway, but that's the game itself has been around for a long time and is sticking with racing game themes. We're going to take you through. So Formula D, I'll give you the brief overview. Formula D is basically a Formula 1 racing game where you are given a track. That track has 3 different lanes. You're each given a car or 2 cars, depending on how many you want to play with. And then you're given a little plastic box, and that little plastic box has got your health points of your car and your gears. You also have a beginner and advanced side. However, I've never actually played with the advanced side. I only ever played with the easy side. The advanced side's got a whole bunch of things, like you can even your shocks, your tires, your brakes.
I'll go into that shortly because there's some interesting things here.
But it is quite simply a Formula 1 race. It's literally one lap of a circuit of your choice, of whatever the game provides you. The default game, I believe, is Monaco, but we tonight actually played on the Singapore map, which was quite fun. And then quite simply, you roll a dice. That dice starts off as a D4, so a 4-sided dice. And it has 1 to 2 on it, and then you move, and then you can shift up a gear.
Yeah,
and
so
then
it's a roll and move, really.
It really is. It literally is a roll and move game, and its simplest form. And then basically, where this game goes, well, Anthony, I hear you saying, or Neba, I hear you saying that, well, you just roll and move. Well, then where comes the strategy? Well, basically, in the corners, you have stopping zones that you have to stop in, and they give you a rating from 1 to 3. So if a corner has a rating of 1, that means you have to stop in that corner zone 1 time. In a corner of 2 times, 3, you guessed it, 3 times. And so where the strategy comes in, you're trying to time your luck and your rolling so that you're in the appropriate gear, so that you can stop the appropriate amount of times in the car, in those zones, so that you can be ahead of anyone. But where the game really shines, Ralph, and I'll get you to kind of comment on this, which is that you can start to push your luck and try and maybe go, you know what, I'm going to try and race through this corner at a higher gear. Maybe I'll take a little bit of health points here, but at least I'll put me in a better position coming out of it.
So every player who controls a car, they have 18 hit points or health points on the car. They call them wear points in the game. And if a corner has a recommended stopping value of 1, you need to stop in that corner once to not take any damage. However, if you're an adventurous driver like myself, you don't believe in brakes, you don't believe in shifting down gears, you just want to go straight through it, and because you have places to go. So what you do, or what I do, is I don't stop on the corner and I just go straight through it. Typically I do this once a race or so, just to try and get a bit of an edge, and any excess spaces that you pass the stop, so if you don't stop by the end of the corner, any excess spots you go, if I go 6 spots forward, I get a bit ahead in the race, yes, but I lose 6 health points.
That's a third of your total hit points. It's a big chunk.
Yeah, so I tend to do this once or twice in the race, because the way I see it is, I see my health points as a resource, and I may as well use it.
Too soon, Junior.
You certainly used it, that's for sure.
Yeah, but Matt, what did you think of the game?
I loved it. I don't know why I haven't played it before, honestly, but it was a very, very easy teach and start to play. Like, we were up and running within, almost 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes at the very, very most, and that's including showing off the fancy side of the board and the lesser fancy side of the board, which was very exciting to see the other side. I'm keen to play that one. I loved it. It was fast, fun play. It felt like it was an actual race as well. Like, your decisions have consequences, but you can still ride the rail as it is, as Ralph did to his demise.
Oh, well, I would have had it.
You probably
you had it until you didn't.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I loved it. I thought it was a lot. I wouldn't want to play it, maybe, as you said, to the 10-player capacity. That might be a bit of a slower game there. But I reckon 6 players on there would be a lot of fun.
6 players is about my maximum. You don't want to play 5 with 2 players each. You really 6, and we've played this at GooberCon a couple of times. Now, the reason why I really like this game as well, I only rate it as about 6.5 or a 7, really, out of 10. And the reason why I do that, though, is because the game at its core is quite simply a roll and move. That's all it is. And now, when you start playing at the higher player counts, there is a lot of downtime. And I found that when I am waiting, I know, like, okay, well, I've just got to roll the dice, move, then up or down a gear. And so when we played at those higher player counts, I remember I was very much in charge of admin, because I was like trying to keep people like, hey, Ralph, come on, like, you're up next. Matt, you're after him. Get ready, because I want you to just pick up the dice, roll and move.
Yeah,
Go.
what I found I was doing, and we just played it tonight, and I found like while Matt was just moving his car, I was like, I'll just take my roll and start moving my car, and it just sort of sped it along a little bit.
Yeah, it really did. I mean, when you start not worrying about the whole idea of, like, yes, you're shifting up or down, but so long as you make that choice before your next roll, I honestly feel like it doesn't really affect. I mean, it doesn't really affect what Matt's going to do, because it could do, because Matt could go, well, Neba's only in gear 4, therefore I can afford to shift down. It can do that, but realistically, we were playing in a way like, I'm just like, oh, here we go, baby. And our race came down literally to the wire. Where
It's a gamble.
Yeah, look, and speaking of gambles, that's what our race came down to. Like, Ralph, you crashed out, but in the final corner, I was ahead by Matt by 2 or 3 spots. 2 spots, I think it was, and I rolled a 17 on the D20. And then I said, you need to roll a 19 or a 20 because I crossed the finish line to beat me, and you rolled a
20.
You rolled a 20 and won the race.
I mean, you called it, though, so,
I'll just explain some mechanics.
It was all my fault.
That's right.
Yeah, please do.
I'll just explain a bit more about the game, seeing as this is our gateway game of the week. I want to make sure our audience here knows what the game is. So, as we've been mentioning, you shift up a gear at the start or end of your turn. And as you shift up a gear, the farther along your car will get. But where this is cool is you get different size dice. So with gear 1, you get a very small dice. It's just known as a D4, a 4-sided dice, but the numbers on it are only 1 or 2. So you're going to go really slow. And then as you go higher, you get like a D6, a normal dice, but it only has values 2 or 4 on it. So it slowly increases. And what I always love showing people and seeing their reaction is when you give them a dice that looks like a D20, but the numbers on it are 11 to 20.
Yeah.
And people just start scratching their heads a little bit.
I didn't gotten onto that till like the 3rd or 4th round. I was like, why aren't I rolling any 1s or 2s? Like, that's what I was aiming for
and
this
then,
dice. That's right.
And then you go up to gear 6, which is the highest gear, and it's a 30-sided dice with just the numbers 21 to 30, and it takes ages for this thing to stop rolling.
It's basically a golf ball.
It is the size of a golf ball. So yeah, that's really cool. There's little things in the game where there's additional ways your car can take damage aside from just speeding through corners. If your car stops next to another car, both those players roll for damage. So they roll a standard D20, so a 20-sided dice, and a result of 1 to 4, you take a hit point of damage. So that was pretty much the basic version of this game. Did I miss anything?
The only other thing that you mentioned is that you do have the option of, if you're in really high gears, you can slam it down more than 1 gear in a turn, but you will take hit points. So if you're in gear 5 and you realize I'm going
crunch that gearbox.
Yeah, I'm doing way too fast for this corner, you can go, I'm going to drop to gear 2, but you'll take 3 hit points of damage because you are only allowed to shift down 1 per turn. So it does actually give you a bit of choice here to actually figure out, how do I actually want to play this? Do I want to ride the rail? Do I want to play safe? But if you want to win the race, you really do actually have to push it a little bit, because otherwise people who've taken a little bit more risk than you and have gotten away with it are going to win the race. And for me, that does feel like a real race. Like, you have to risk it sometimes, put yourself in a position where you're like, there was one point earlier in the game, Matt, where you're like, I'm going to do, again, the D20, and you're like, I'm just going to push to this corner because I want to get in front, and you happen to roll way too big.
I rolled the 20 again.
You rolled the 20. And
almost sped through 2 corners.
Yeah, and so, but that put you in a position where, all right, well, now you had to then play, okay, well, I have to slam my gearbox down and take a couple of hits, and it put you back, but you also didn't go flying through like Ralph did and flipped his car and blew his car up, You
know what? Hearing you guys say that the player count at 10 is... slows the game down. I reckon this game, as far as gateway games, right? It's an attractive game. It has a lot, that was a lot of fun for a quick play. It's a big box game as well. So talk about getting people into the community. Like, this isn't just a a small box and a couple of bits of paper, right? This is a proper board game with lots of bits and pieces that you can actually hold and play with. It'd be interesting to try and find a mechanic, maybe a digital mechanic, to speed up that admin side, because like it
maybe
did
like a
feel
chess timer and it passes to the next player or
something like that. I don't know, but as you said, 3 players. It was quick. It was like
I'll
exciting.
talk about another Formula game after this segment that's kind of got a timer to it.
Yeah. But even like, I mean, maybe the digital version of this game plays at those bigger numbers better, because then you're not physically handling things. There's no downtime. Well, there's less downtime. I don't know, but. Or even a consecutive play, a group play where everyone has a set of dice and you all roll at the same time and it all resolves itself or something. I don't know.
I love this game at 3 players when everyone has 2 cars.
Yeah.
Like you have like the 2 red cars or the 2 green cars, and your cars are a racing team. Yeah. But it's a 3-player game, but you have that racing team and you want to try and get the most points. You can finish second and third, but you still win on points, sort of thing.
And imagine there'd be, sorry to jump in, imagine there'd be room here for actual racing aficionados to really love this game and play it in those 3 laps, Grand Prix style, and actually have strategies about how they deal with... Well, everything in the game. There's a lot more than just the roll and play. That's how we played it, but you can get a lot more.
Oh, definitely. There's
out of the game.
So we played one of the expansion maps. I think this game has about 8 or 10 different expansions, and they're all double-sided maps.
They have one official racetrack from the F1 world and one street track, quote unquote, which is like a fun variation.
So, like, there's quite a few in there. Honestly, if I was to play this game more, I'll probably pick up, I think the Chicago expansion was really interesting. But there's more advanced rules here. And there's some basic rules that I just missed because it's been quite a while since I've played it. There's a thing called slipstreaming, which when you finish behind a car, you have an option where you can, it's kind of get free movement and kind of overtake that car, which is really cool. We
just crashed into the back of each other, didn't we?
Yeah, we just did that.
You have to be going faster than them. There's some variations
and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of other stuff you can do as well, such as different weather. You can give you can give your drivers different personalities, but there's also some other stuff that you can do, which is that in the street versions of the side, you're in a street race.
I noticed there's police in the street race.
Yeah, so there's
potholes.
There's actually there's the potholes are the bridges that you go under, but they have speed checks, right? So it's you have to go through this line, and whatever you rolled as you pass that line is your speed trap, right? So you're trying to go through, but they've also got there's club gangsters essentially don't like the fact that street races happen outside their thing. So if you rush past there and you don't get through there fast enough, they shoot your car, and so you lose HP. So there's all these fun.
I've never heard of this.
I just saw it. They're in the road race. They're in the road race.
That's what I mean. This game wasn't very expensive. It looks like a big box game. It wasn't for the board games that I play. They're more expensive.
It's about 60 Australian dollars.
This one's not too bad. But the amount of game here that I haven't seen is just insane.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There seems to be a lot of expandability into this game. So in the category of gateways, this is probably a really good buy for someone who wants to take that next step of
definitely
having a showcase game, but not really getting into the Euro style.
I kind of do want to play a game with the advanced rules where we all have an asymmetric character with different health points for different things, your brakes, your gearbox, your gear stick, your engine, and all the characters have special abilities as well, which are things like free movement. You can ignore some health points, just some other little fun mechanics to the game. But you can dive in this game as deep as you want to. You can do a proper Grand Prix over many different races. You can just do several laps. And for qualifying, pole position, we just rolled a D20 and the highest number got pole position. But in the rulebook, you can do a qualifying lap where you just race the lap on your own to try and set the fastest time.
Yeah, you just basically how many rolls or how many turns it take you to get through, and then
that would be really cool. See if we can get a record or something.
Yeah, they got that. So look, it is a great gateway game. Matt's giggling because he's currently read what you found.
He found a special ability. So he's just reading the special.
So the character Stanley Washington who looks exactly as you picture him to look in your mind right now. His special ability is car radio. Once per race, Stanley thinks his car radio plays bad music, and he throws it out the window onto a car on an adjacent space, and then that car loses 1 hit point in a category to be defined by the dice. That's awesome.
I love that.
I just love the idea that he doesn't actually know that the car's there. He just throws it out the window and just happens. Like
also,
like
that he has
Psycho
other
moment, isn't it?
spare radios that he just plugs
So you
in.
can only do that once a game, can't you?
No, it's
oh yeah, that thing. But like
once per race. Sorry, yeah, you're right. Once per race.
Right. That's really cool.
Just insane.
yeah, I really dig this. It's not a game that I play that often for a couple of reasons. One, it's so simple. Two, it's very the mechanics are so simple. Like, you know, it's not really exciting to me to play. However, it's exciting to me to play, but I love watching people play this game. I love sitting back and then just like watching people start to go, oh, he's going to risk it. He's going to go for it. He's rushing through the three turn with 2, the madman. How many, right? Like, just watch people do it. And that's why I really love it.
I've owned this game for maybe 7 or 8 years now.
Same.
And I've played this with my nephews who at the time were about 10 years old, and my father-in-law and my mother-in-law, and the teach was nothing, and they all had a good time with it. The end was pretty thrilling because, you know, you got 3 or 4 cars coming to the end, and you know, it's just as you saw tonight, just that one roll and you win and everyone's cheering. So it's pretty awesome. Just wanted to read another special ability of a character is just when you cause someone to roll the black damage dice, this guy just makes you roll it twice. He's actually like a criminal or something. So there's lots of little fun things here.
Look, the game box says 14 plus. I highly disagree with that. This is easily, you can play this with 8 or 9-year-olds.
Yeah, I
easy.
wonder why it's 14 plus.
I was thinking
Maybe the advanced side would be 14 plus, but the basic side you could get away
the way
with
that we
easily.
played it today, I could teach this to Robbie, I reckon.
Yeah, so easily. Anyway, so that's Formula D. Now, the reason we picked this as our gateway game of the week, though, is because our theme for the week is racing games. And what are the pros? What are the cons? What are some good racing games that we can recommend and things like that? So we picked Formula D as our first game and our gateway game because we hope that you can understand how simple this game is to teach and how much of a fun time can be had with this game.
But who doesn't understand the concept of a race either, right? As far as themes go, there's no great explanation that's needed, right?
Also, the mechanics of the game are also perfect because they literally take what you know from Monopoly. Roll the dice, move your character that many spaces, and this just says, all right, we're just going to do that. But, yeah, and makes it fun, right? And that's what I love that about this as well.
I love it. This is one of my beer and pretzels games. It's a game you can play while having a beer and eating a pretzel.
Yeah, it absolutely is. You don't have to worry about, spilling stuff and...